have many footy skills or any fitness. And at that stage, Gardner was the #1 ruckman in the competition. In fact, Ben Cousins wrote an article in the local paper today saying that Gardner was the best tack ruckman of the two of them, even though Cox has proven since to be the best all-round ruckman. So, as we mentioned earlier,
Glass on Kosicki, McKenzie on Revolt.
Fantastic for Ben Cousins to give that kind of words for two of his outstanding players, as Kerr, another player who, as we know, teamed with Ben Cousins magnificently with this team. Schneider to half forward. McKenzie, as you guys mentioned in the intro, been a pretty important player for them, and gets wrapped up. Will get a ball up and got one for his trouble there.
It's an interesting matchup, Shorey. Shannon Hearn, that Lee Cole was just talking about, has got the job on Lee Montagna.
Yeah, just don't know whether he can run the match out like that. Stevie Baker's got Mark Lacroix deep in defence too.
I'll have a look at that during the week. That little one in the pack.
No surprises, Selwood on Del
Here we go again.
Oh, should have been a free kick.
You heard umpire Matthew Jones say arms to yourselves. And he didn't have his arm to himself. So Gardner.
He's had a little win here early. The first tap, now a free kick.
Del Santo wide. Lead comes. Revolt. To his own advantage. Slips out the handball. Quick fire to Jones. Spears to Goddard. Pocket mark.
Very important player for St.Kilda, Brendan Goddard. His flexibility, we've seen him play in defence as a running half-back. He's a key defender at times. He can play forward as he is now. He's certainly an accomplished midfielder. And Brett Jones has the job on him.
And a big shortener in Brownlow betting in the last couple of weeks, Brendan Goddard, because that's the kind of form he's in. They get the opener.
Well, he is very important. I thought he might have had a run with role in midfield today, but he's been pushed up forward and coming out of the goal square. He's just so important in that he's a great finisher. We know he can kick the ball long. They played around Jones around the wing there. Rewalt got involved, kept the ball wide, but just even the finish from that angle shows you've got to be a class act and someone who's got a lot of poise and just an understanding of where the goals are and how to finish off.
Are you surprised that he's starting at full forward again?
Very.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Umpires barking instructions. Up they go again. Gardner initially knocked down, not decisively, and I'll have to do it again.
Shorey, Clinton Jones, the run with job on Daniel Kerr. Haven't seen him do many of those sort of roles per se.
He works hard. I think the motor won't be a problem, but he might get lost in the congestion. Kerr's great at that.
Ball. Kapridis almost had it. Graham, Ray, Wilt, Blake, Montagna. Mr. Inside 50. Loves to pump it along. Forced to handball it to Ray. Shrugs it. Jones. Back to Mr. Inside 50, who does exactly that. And finds Goddard. Perfection.
Well, he's troubling him at the moment. This is a smart move by Ross Lyon. What it's done is it's stretched the defence of the West Coast Eagles, and it may even ask them the question of, do we leave Adam Hunter up forward? Do we have to drop him down back? Because normally there's so much focus on Revolt and Kosicki. The best thing that could happen if the St Kilda forward line is for the first couple to go to someone else, a la Brendan Goddard. A little bit of suspicion about that ball touching the ground underneath, but benefit of the doubt to the attacking forward. I don't mind that.
To make it 2 from 2.
Oh, is he striking him well?
It's there. West Coast on the ropes early.
Well, Brad Ebert's got the job at full back, and when you identify, that's the man who should be playing on the full back Glass, but when you've got Rewalt and Kosicki in your side, it means that you need your key defenders to go with them. Here's Jones, run off Kerr. They split the lines beautifully by hand, and Lee Montagna just love the way. Their foot skills are up there with some of the best. So Brett Jones.
But his hands full, hasn't he?
Has he what?
Another look at that mark for you, gentlemen, to see if we needed the third umpire to adjudicate.
Does it touch the ground through the arms? Look, I think
Just
that's a mark.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's there. Now, Cox knocked it down to Kerr. He was grabbed before he grabbed it.
Well, that's the pressure he's going to feel at some stage, Clinton Jones, that Kerr's got the run of the footy, and holding him up at the free kick's not the worst thing he can do.
Cox kicked it straight to Gardner, but he couldn't collect it. Prittis sold the dummy back to Cox. It's a better kick. Dawson, a big fist, and it scrapes through for a behind off the fist of Zach Dawson. First score for the West Coast. Umpires continue to talk the talk here. Matthew James, Damien Sully, Stephen Grun, the umpires today, as Graham has a back pocket. Called to play on. Hansen comes at him late. It was touched. Play on. Gwilt heard the call. Lays a pretty good tackle on McKinlay. Held to him. No prior opportunity. Ball up.
You're going to see Dean Cox rack up a lot of possessions. As I think a conduit right out in the wing. You'll see him push out there because Michael Gardner and Stephen King won't be able to run with him in this game.
Cox with the palm down. Davis, Stingline, as we said in game 200. Dawson front spot. Little push out and a hold.
Now
Hunter's ball.
That's a massive mistake because he's got a 2-on-1. All he has to do is shepherd his teammates back, which was Zach Dawson standing in front of the contest, I think it was. It might have been Gilbert, but either way, they had a 2-on-1. He gives away a cheap free kick when Hunter had no chance of getting the ball.
First game back last week, and it was a win for Adam Hunter, but he was dodgy in front of goal. Just the three behinds, and only sneaks that in by the closest of margins, but they're there.
That's just a serious mistake, Jason Blake, Shaw. You've got the forward beaten cold, 1 against 2. He certainly wasn't in a position to mark the ball, and to give away a free kick like that, that hurts.
And the other thing about Adam Hunter, and we can see the replay here, you're right, you just got to go for the ball, don't you? You're right on his back, your man's in front, hard to mark over the top. But the other thing about Adam Hunter, when you've got him down there, you've got Hansen and Lynch who can be inconsistent. At least you've got a competitor in the area of that forward line.
First goal of the year for Adam Hunter. Jason Blake with the job on him. Good start to this contest. Gardner and Cox again. Gardner up early, decisive palm, but not the takeaway. Stingline spins into and out of trouble to Prittis. High kick. Hansen can't get there in time to affect the spoil on Sam Gilbert, who stood his ground well. Might be a target for Gold Coast recruiters. Former Southport Premiership player Sam Gilbert, really growing as a player. Finds Blake, and now McWalter. Wilt. Now Revolt the target. A couple to beat. Fist down and beats them both. Graham. His kick smothered well. Rosa in the end of the handball from McKenzie. Prittis. Lynch too strong. Prittis. They work it back. Jones. Cox. McKenzie. Dragged down by Geary. Crowd want ball, don't get it. Stingline had time. He couldn't get rid of it. And the umpire will be forced to ball it up.
There's that pressure.
Yeah, we highlighted before the game, the tackling, the pressure, numbers around the contest. They didn't have any chance to get themselves settled and find a bit of space, the Eagles.
Cox and Gardner both go down as they tie up. Hayes spun out of trouble, gave to Goddard, sends it wide. Schneider. Maybe just within his range. Doesn't look confident right now, but all options taken. Might go for goal. Coming off a good first year at the Saints. 28 goals last year. Best season he's had since his first year at the Swans when he kicked 30. Knows how to kick them. Hits the post here. And almost hit by the goal umpire's flag there.
I think they made a change. It looks like Mitchell Brown might have the job on Goddard now. Brett Jones has been moved.
Cox. Caught. Got it away just in time. Kerr dragged down. No free kick for an incorrect disposal, but Clinton Jones' tackle superb. We'll get another ball up. Didn't hear earlier. Saints averaging a club record 81 tackles per game in the first 2 rounds. 88 last week alone. Prentice Gets the kick away. Quilt. Spilt. Gilbert. Back to Quilt. And Dwelt. They get out of trouble. Hayes wants to go long. Wasn't a lot on. Baker. Quilt again. Blake, dangerous kick. Good kick to the open side. Hunter couldn't shut him down. And now space through the middle. Ray. And Revolt. On 50. Plays on quickly. Lead from Kazitsky. He's got 2 to beat in the marking contest, and Stenglein was one of the 2. Critis. Jones. Now Quentin Lynch. Launches one of his long bombs. It's a wobbler into space. Bouncing ball. Tough one to collect. Dawson comes hard, lays a little half shepherd on Lacroix. Fisher, Ray. Fisher. A couple of options wide, Milne or Gardner, and Gardner gets there in time, takes the mark.
I think it's important for Michael Gardner to get involved in BUs. You've got Dean Cox playing pretty much as a defensive sweeper, a kick or a kick and a half behind the play. So Gardner's got to push up, be a conduit for the ball going forward and try and drag Cox out.
Milne to Jones to Geary, and he plays on, runs into trouble. Little push to the backside from Kerr, that was okay.
Lack of awareness there from Geary.
Embley to Stenglein, and Cox, who got back to lend a hand to defence, finds Glass out of side. 13 plays 7.
50 metres.
Yeah, against, yep.
So Kerr dumped behind play. Embley played on, but McKinley's a little out wide. No. Thought that was 50 downfield. Lacroix. And had the position. Strong hands. And he has been outstanding as well this season. He is equal leader on the AFL goal-kicking ladder, Mark Lacroix. 9-2 for the year.
He's one of those good mid-sized forwards that's elusive, good on the lead, good off the ground, but can also mark the ball over his head. And he has a little bit of a height advantage, and you'd suspect he's going to be better in the air. And you mentioned it earlier about the marking contests with Stephen Baker, Shorey. This will be one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, if you can isolate Stevie Baker and they get enough supply, you'll be playing Mark Lacroix out of the square, stay at home.
Saw 74%. He's been 74% last 2 years, and he's better than that so far this year. That's his 10th of the season.
3 of the 4 goals that have been kicked thus far have all been exceptional set shots from deep in the pocket. Hunter, the only easy one, and he was the one that probably came closest to missing. But a couple of beauties from Brendan Goddard, one deep in each pocket, and that one from Mark Lacroix. Exceptional look, almost a 2-on-1, but Dawson just a little bit too far away from the contest to lend a helping hand. It was a good kick in the end because it did isolate Baker one out.
Six goals, 1 against Brisbane in round 1. Mark Lacroix, the best of his career. His career is only 39 games old. Getting better by the game now. From the ball up, ball with a blind turn, slips the pass to Goddard. Identified the drop zone of the ball and just pushed his player out of it. It was a tough kick to read.
Become a masterstroke this move, hasn't it?
Oh, isn't it good to see someone use their body in a marking contest and outpoint your opponent? He just had Mitchell Brown pushed outside the corridor.
Nice off the boot, stays good in the air. He's got 3 from 3.
And Goddard's coming from the ground now. It happens in the game. You kick a goal. Well, he's kicked 3. He's going to have a spell.
Coach, I'm hot. I've got 3. I'm hot. Let me go.
Well, I just noticed Mark Lacroix kicked the last goal up the other end. At the bounce, the centre bounce with this clearance. And what a great clearance by Luke Ball on that occasion. Just tough and hard at it. But isn't that great to see some body work? Mitchell Brown, I'll be thinking, might get the defensive coach to say, hey, stay in the corridor and push him outside.
Tell me it's not true, Jason. They haven't taken him off.
It's disgraceful, isn't it? A bloke's on an absolute roll and he's going to come off for a spell.
10 minutes into the game, you must be exhausted.
3 goals in 10 minutes, he's off.
And he's not playing midfield, he's playing deep forward.
That'll teach him to kick 3 in 10 minutes. Montagna gets it from Jones. They never did that to you, Jason. Bouncing ball wide. Schneider and Jones collide. Schneider went down, little too high.
year.
Jones ran past the ball.
Oh, that's just a good bump.
Wasn't high in the end, was it?
No, it was straight down the line.
Rosa to Hansen. Umpires are a little jumpy with that one at the moment. Lacroix. Rosa peels into the pocket. Just over his head, runs back onto it. And can't keep it in. Took Gilbert with him. Ball in.
So you've got to ask the question. Lacroix kicked a goal from a mark. Then let's have a look at this. That's just on the line. Neither of them went hard enough at the ball anyway. That's just play on. But Mark Lacroix just kicked that ball on the forward line. I think I'd rather see him on the end of the kicks.
I don't think there was high contact.
No.
He just made the most of it, Schneider, and he knew he got up straight away. He knew there was not much in it.
Ball might be in trouble here. He dragged this in. He's dead.
Good call, Dwayne.
You know, they've stood firm here, West Coast, because they got off to a good start with a couple of early Goddard goals, and he's now got 3, and things are going well for the Saints. But the Eagles, they have made the most of their opportunities. They haven't had a lot of quality ball going forward, but in different ways they've managed to fashion a couple of goals. And here's another chance. Can we get another fantastic kick from the pocket?
So Ebert was in defence earlier. To the near side only, behind Brad Ebert. Relatively quiet game last week, just the 11 possessions in West Coast win against Port Adelaide. Montagna, ball.
Trouble here.
To Montagna. Ebert knocks it away and gathers toward Maston, but Graham read it okay, got a kick away somehow, and it wasn't out, so the mark to McKenzie. Brown, Cox, a little wide for Fletcher. He left it, and it was a good move in the end. Davis called him out, perhaps. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Mark to Fisher, though, coming off an All-Australian and best and fairest season last year. Hayes, King, Milne, Blake. No one to kick too long. Montagna does. Touch, though. And Revolt caused the play on. Gets the kick away. It's a tough one. Goddard's lurking. Gets there, but the ball bounces unkindly. Hearn.
Needs to be a good kick, this one.
And he normally is good with the delivery. Ebert hunts it down. Ball hunts him. Hansen just set it on his head a little. Kerr. And didn't take it out, but Fisher helps it across the line.
It's great to see good midfielders then going and resting up forward like Daniel Kerr, just before he comes off the ground, probably for his spell in the rotation. It's good to see they can sneak a goal before they come from the ground.
King and Cox tie up this time. No free. Cox to Fletcher. It's the handball in the Maston direction, but in those silver boots, Chris Maston.
Done a good job thus far. Clinton Jones, 4 possessions, kept Kerr to 3. That's going very well for the Saints at the moment. You see him there paying very close attention.
King threw Cox out that time.
Just seems to be too much attention in trying to get front position instead of just getting away and maybe run and jump. I know you don't want a clear tap, but to give a free kick this close to goal.
Doesn't look confident about the distance, Dean Cox. Oh, he had Shannon Hearn running by too.
He's got 3 straight this year, and that's not a bad kick. And Hansen claims the mark, but it's through for a behind.
Actually got the journey. I dare say St Kilda can consider themselves a little bit lucky. Shannon Hearn looped around late for the hand pass. No one within Cooey. You don't want him kicking them from 55 because he can bomb them.
Just saw Cox come from the ground. Quinton Lynch is doing the roles as second ruckman. Seaby not playing today.
Cox, Embley, Rosa and Jones on the bench at the moment for the Eagles. High rotations at the moment. Montagna wide to Goddard all the way up from full forward. Just off the bench, of course, after having a spell. Kicked 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. Graham spins out of Ebert's attempt to tackle. Short. Revolt just out of his reach. Selwood coming off that 33 possession game last week. Gave to Brown. Gave to Glass, gave to Davis, back to Glass, in trouble. They're tackling St Kilda again to the 4. Ball thrown out, Montagna feeds it back, Baker. Graham thumps it long, It'll hit the goal square. Kaczynski, Revolt, and Kaczynski. They're still there. Milne calls for it. Goddard kicks the goal. The umpire calls it back.
Throw against Revolt, who cannot believe it, and cost
50.
him 50. Well, we are desperate to have a look at the replay here because he looks distraught, Nick Revolt. He thinks he got a handball in. And not only has it cost them a potential another goal, a fourth goal to Brendan Goddard.
Was
It's a 50-minute penalty. Yeah, they played on from where the original mark was, but the umpire's up at the back of the square. They still haven't heard the whistle, the Eagles players.
Was it 50 for dissent or the kick after the free kick given?
I think it was dissent. It looked to be against the protest of Nick Revolt, but they're interesting. Let's have a look there. He and McKenzie going at it one-on-one. The ball comes over the back. Here he is. He was going. That's a handball.
No.
You know what? He shaped to flick it up, and then it was a clean handball. The umpire got it wrong.
The footy gods might see them get one regardless here. McWalter.
And isn't it sold into the wounds when you cop the 50 after that? You said, but I didn't do anything wrong.
Montagna to Jones, yes. Being correct, there's no defence. Unfortunately. Gardner shoots it back. Montagna. Now Geary. Fletcher with the fist. Knocks it down. Kerr. Back to Fletcher. Tries to tap it onto Wembley. Thrown out of it.
Gee, that was good to see the umpire not get sucked in for that free kick.
Another throw.
Yeah. This one's Matthew James this time.
And
50 again.
You know why? Because the St Kilda player who had the ball, Jason Blake, handballed it back to Zach Dawson instead of giving it straight back to the opponent.
Boy,
this is hot.
Well, the last umpire was Damien Sully, who paid the throw. This one, Matthew James. So
a couple of decisions in quick succession have really hurt St Kilda. Key is make the most of it. Chad Fletcher has to capitalise.
For his first of the year, and to give the West Coast the lead, disgraceful. Started on the bench, comes on and can't quite give them the momentum back.
Oh, there's the throw.
Okay.
That's the original throw. But then Jason Blake didn't give the ball back.
Montagna, good contest this. 22 minutes gone, 19-16. Wilt.
Lee Montagna's had 11 possessions. He's just getting out of the mix at the moment.
Well, we mentioned it early because Montagna had Hearn as an opponent.
But they've swapped that over now.
Worked.
Hearn might get this, taps it down, can't collect. Milne's free this time.
Still running around on his own, Montagna. He could get it again here if he squares it up.
He should nearly do it too.
Thought about taking on the man on the mark, sends it along, Goddard with 2 to beat, and Brown takes the mark. Mitch Brown still eligible for the NAB Rising Star this year after missing the whole season last year with that knee injury. It falls inside the 21-year-old 10-game criteria. Prentice. Ebert. Embley. Maston. Galsano brings him down. That's ball. Play on advantage. Geary rolls it inside 50. Well, umpire said it was no advantage, but Kaczynski and Schneider's eyes lit up.
They stood up well, haven't they, West Coast Eagles? You know, you'd think you'd see a bit difference in the class and the ability across the board, but they've stood up to the pressure fairly well.
Del Santo.
I guess the test will be whether they can do it for 4 quarters.
And score at the other end.
Coming off a 35-possession game last week. Outstanding start to his season, Del Santo. Offhands, Goddard for 4!
Oh, what? Take him. Don't take him off.
Can you believe it?
The thing that, and look, this will be highlighted no doubt through the week when West Coast look at their tape. You've got a man that's already kicked 3. If you're playing on Brendan Goddard and you leave him to impact the contest, Brett Jones, again, he just got pushed underneath the ball. You've got to be playing defensive side of him, finger in the back, because you've got a big pack there. He's not going to climb over them to take the mark. He just got worked out of it a little bit too easily, Brett Jones, and to be standing over the back on your own, unbelievable.
4-goal opening term. Brendan Goddard and John Worsfold on the phone. They've been competitive. Should have been in front, the West Coast, with Fletcher's kick. 3 minutes 50 to the first change.
It's finally happened. Darren Glass has gone on to Goddard.
Hayes, Glass and Hearn. Hearn beats Squills. Takes off. Hits Ebert. Little poke pass over the head of Hansen. Maston first onto it, knocked it to Lynch. Hands to Hansen, shrugs the Hayes tackle, thumps it long. Goal square, Lacroix down there with Gilbert. And Lacroix just grabbed Gilbert. So it won't be a behind, it'll be a free. Geary.
Well, it looks like it's only a momentary change. Glass is going to pick up whoever's deepest out of Goddard and Kazitsky.
And it looks like Brett Jones do it. You've got to make a change on that. You have to make a change with 4 goals.
I think they're happy to play him there when Goddard's outside the 50, but if he goes deep, you can't leave Jones there.
Graham's got a paddock here, just needs to get past Rosa, can't. Jones. The handball's into the paddock. Hayes, Jones.
Here he is again.
Revolt's down there with Goddard. Revolt edged under it. Goddard back in the pack for number 5. Caught, dragged down, couldn't get a boot to it. Revolt mops up.
Touched. Oh. Boy, is he under pressure, Brett Jones. And the bounce of the ball favours you when you're running hot. Yeah. It eluded a couple of West Coast blokes and ended up straight in the running of Brendan Goddard.
Selwood short to Eben. Position number 5 for him, Lynch. And thumps that long bomb. McKinlay on the move. Gilbert with him, wins with the fist. And a clever fist too to the boundary or Montagna. Over the head of Dawson. Gilbert back in. Strength. Short pass. Dal Santo tracks it down. Nikosky with him. Corrals him. Doesn't come at him. All the way back inside defensive 50 to Blake. They can reset. We're inside 2 minutes for quarter time.
It doesn't look pretty, but it's a clever kick from Nick Dal Santo because it gives them time to settle, time to get themselves organised again.
And it stretches out the defence. Gilbert.
It's amazing now that Glass has gone on to Goddard. He goes straight up to half forward. Kazitsky goes deep, and Brett Jones is one out again deep in defence.
I think Ross Lyon be rubbing his hands together to know that Glass is out of that defensive forward 50. Oh, sorry, defensive 50 for West Coast.
Ray to Fisher to Revolt.
Oh, one out Kazitsky.
Hayes, Kazitsky on the march. That's a bullet pass. He couldn't get out of the way of it.
Brett Jones, he is having a horror quarter. You can see him standing the mark there, but he should not be playing on Justin Kazitsky. That is the job for your best full-back. We know it's Darren Glass.
The problem is the Goddard form forced them to make that switch,
but he came up outside 50, so let Jones go up there then. Don't let him go deep with him. Oh, just open them up then. And their midfield are dominating at the moment. They haven't got a half-forward line, the West Coast Eagles.
Back-to-back good games to start this season. Kazitsky. And his goal kicking's back as well. The first of the day for him.
Well, you have to feel for Brett Jones. He's just having one of those days. He got carved up early by Brendan Goddard. Finally, they try to make a change now. They were trying between he comes off as Kazitsky comes off, and probably happy to be off to have a spell, but he's had 4 or 5 kicked on him in the first term. Not a lot you can do about a pass like this.
Nah.
I mean, probably more worried about being out-bustled and marked above a pack by Kazitsky, but he gets beaten on the lead, and probably thankful that Kazitsky's gone off for a spell.
A new improved, perhaps. Justin Kazitsky may have turned the corner.
Well, that was actually a very good tackle. Credit to Jones, and gee, is that a goal? Was it touched? Very close.
One for the third umpire.
And some umpires certainly would have paid that a goal.
He's already been robbed once, Nick Revolt. Might be twice now.
Hearn inside 50. Gilbert's been very good.
This is the problem area. They need someone to mark the ball inside 50 when it does get there, and it's not happening often.
King trying to launch another score.
Montagna hasn't got a man. Here he is again.
So Mr. Inside 50 gets it from Hayes, gives to Revolt. Can't get the half volley. The seconds continue to roll. Revolt back to Ray, centering kick. Cox gets back and saves the day. Quarter time at Etihad Stadium. And it's lived up to all expectations so far. St. Kilda on fire early in this game, and he looks like he's going to start virtually at full forward again in this second term. The man of the moment.
Well, he's now got Mitch Brown as an opponent who was on him briefly in that first quarter, had 1 goal kicked on him. Certainly Brett Jones has been relieved of the job, and Darren Glass goes back to renew rivalries with Justin Kazitsky.
I think we've got to also wait and see who picks up Lee Montagna, because I don't think anybody's going to go near him at the moment, having 13 in the first quarter.
16 points the margin. Second term underway, and it's King up against Cox this time. Pritis caught. Little high. You heard the call. You might not agree with it, but it was there according to the umpire, and he plays on quickly. Rosa to Hansen. A little too wide for here. Hunter towed off the ground by Dawson, who finds Ray. Handballs to the feet of King. It's a long way down there. Got it to Gwilt. Hand to Montagna. Confident in traffic at the moment. Rolling ball to Revolt. Thumps it long to the Goddard one-on-one. Why wouldn't you? Brown in front spot, though. And maybe 50.
Positioned himself well. Read the play beautifully.
Played all 3 games so far this year, Mitch Brown.
Sure, you wouldn't believe me if I told you who Brett Jones is on at the moment.
Please.
Nick Del Santo. You reckon his afternoon could go from bad to worse?
Davis to Stengline to Pritis. Again, the long bomb in hope. Gilbert threw Lacroix out of it, and Lacroix to take the free from directly out. There's your explanation.
Well, they started Stevie Baker on Lacroix, and there's no doubt if they could isolate him, he was going to outmark him. On that time, Gilbert just had to wrap his arms around him, and the umpires, as soon as they see that in the marking contest, especially if you're in front, you'll be paid the free kick.
This should be a formality.
No, they need it.
Just his stock standard brilliance from that spot kicks the goal they desperately wanted.
Well, there's certainly a thorn in the side, Mark Lacroix. Very hard to match up. You need to be quick, you need to be agile. You also need to be strong in the air. And he's one of the shining lights up forward for the West Coast Eagles. Has been over the first couple of weeks as well. And Stephen Baker, who originally started there, is no longer there. It's Sam Gilbert, and I think that's a terrific matchup. He's tall, he's quick, he's agile.
Here's the West Coast goal square. Gilbert and Dawson in there, pushing and shoving against Hunter and Lacroix. Back in the middle. King gets his own clearance. Jones back on after that horror first term. Davis. Kick tough for Ebert. Wilt's with him. Towed into the air. Pritis. Hands too quick. Missed the target. Got out of all people to give it to Milne. He throws it on the boot. Spins it around and can't get it there. Glass. Last line of defence to Hearn.
I wasn't trying to put people in a panic. Brett Jones, when he was on Del Santo, was only in transition for a couple of minutes. He's actually gone back to half-back.
Davis to Brown to Kerr. Cox, good reach, and Goddard hurt himself there, Goddard. He's landed on his back and he's still down. Cox check turnover. Gwilt sends it back again. Goddard slowly getting up. Kazitsky, no Goddard to go to.
I reckon the fact that he hurt himself probably saved him from giving away 50 there, Brendan Goddard.
He might have landed on his coccyx bone, which really does hurt.
Revolt pokes. Geary up against the boundary line. Centering ball. King, is that 50? Played for it.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah.
What for, Tyson Stengline says.
He's a fraction late. He tried to avoid the contact. Gee. Makes it an easy goal now, but still they shouldn't have got the ball back in the corridor as easy as they did, especially to Stephen King.
And that's a gift because, look, he's a pretty good kick of the footy, Stephen King, but certainly no certainty from where he was. The 50-metre penalty, we have a look here.
Oh, you can't pull. You cannot pull up.
He went
physically,
down,
can you? Didn't he go?
He went down like a bag of spuds. The big fella went down as if shot. He played it well, Stephen King.
Just bend at the knees and that's it.
Sad decision to watch that.
It is, isn't it?
It is. You mentioned King's a good kick. He's a great kick from there. He kicks his first.
Well, mind you, it's fair to say that we've seen it from the first bounce. They've been very specific, the umpires. If there's the minor infringement, the 50-metre penalty's been paid very quickly. They've paid 3 or 4 of them already. It was a good inboard pass.
I mean, there is enough evidence to say it wasn't 15, and Stengline had a right to think it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a legitimate effort to spoil. He then pulled up, made minimal contact, and the building just went crash.
38-22. Goddard back at full forward after this.
Well, he's marked it, and he's jumped
I thought
late.
well, that was late contact too. That should have nearly been 50, but then he's came on second best. The umpire might have taken sympathy on.
Cox, Prentice, Rosa. Trickles a kick, but Graham gathers. Now Del Santo can get and go here. Held up.
Hasn't had it all his own way, Nick Del Santo. Just the 5 possessions. They have done a good job on him, the Eagles.
I've known how valuable he's been in the first 2 rounds. Just gets the kick away in time, and Kerr gets back. Someone's in his eyes. McKenzie. Jones, little fumble. The demons of the first.
no.
Montagna, the steal, runs in, kicks one of the goals of the year.
Well,
Balled it straight to him.
yeah, I think he tried to go nearly the look-away handball here. They're all under pressure. There's Jones again, fumbles first time. I'm just trying to pick up who it was who handballed that ball. Was that Davis? I'm not too certain, but Montagna read it beautifully, and the ball never came off the hand too well. And it was Ryan Davis. And then you've got to finish. That's the thing, from that little angle. You still got to finish once you've intercepted and it's taken a little bit out of you. So well done, Lee Montagna.
Pretty important player now, Lee Montagna, in the shadow of the bigger names in many respects, but the leading kick getter in the AFL last year. Outstanding goal that from the ball up. Rosa. Kerr almost threw that to Selwood. Cox. Nikoski. Hansen. Did he hold or was he held? He was holding.
Right
Fisher.
there, Dwayne. That is where they're falling down. That is the spot at centre-half forward. You know, the ball's not coming great. It's not smooth and fluent, but you still got to play and compete in that spot and keep the ball in there instead of letting it come out like this.
We did mention, though, he's an outstanding defender, Fisher.
Yep.
All-Australian best and fairest last year. So Sam Fisher knows his craft. King.
Gee, that's not...
That's a bear. That's 10.
10.
Yeah.
Clinton Jones, who...
Another one doing a good job.
Yep.
Daniel Kerr, just the 6 possessions.
to revolt. Instead, under it, almost pushed
back.
under it.
No doubt.
It was an illegal push from McKenzie. Revolt too far out to score. Koziski and Goddard inside 50 calling for it.
Gee, they do this well.
Koziski's on the move. Gets the run and the spoil good from Glass, but he follows up beautifully. Sizes them up from 50. It's a wobbler, but it's straight. The best ugly kick you've seen today.
Well, it was an ugly kick, but you need to go back to the wing area, and they have done this brilliantly. We can see the free kick, no doubt about it. What St Kilda do, anywhere within the wing area, they switch the ball, and that was Gwilt on the end of it, which opens up what they call the fat side, the other side of the ground, where there's no pressure. And that second effort was fantastic from Cozzy. Even last week we saw a bit of that athleticism that he had missing for a couple of seasons. But that's outside 50, and it was a mongrel.
Two straight for Justin Koziski so far today, and that's 8-1 for the season. So an outstanding start to the year for him. And the ball up, the West Coast on the ropes, and another clearance for Jones. Revolt came hard. Schneider in the Goddard direction, forced to feed back. Baker. Tough one for Hayes. Oh, and it's almost a mark to Geary. He's been paid. It wasn't his ball, but he made it his.
No, I think he was looking for Lenny Hayes, and the kick was a little bit long. Lenny Hayes actually went up with the one hand, and you wouldn't believe who's...
Oh, no, please.
Poor old Brett Jones. He must think the world's coming down on his head at the moment.
Oh, he's been out there marked one-on-one.
It's a fantastic effort to trap it with the one hand, keep his eye on it, and kick the goal. I don't know what to say.
We've all had days like that.
Absolutely.
You just don't touch it, don't go near it.
All you can do is keep trying, but no, it's not going to improve much.
And Geary sneaks it through.
Probably the other thing that happens in having a bad day is every half opportunity that anyone gets, they kick a goal with, but he doesn't quite, he's a little bit shell-shocked, I think, at the moment, Brett Jones. He's a very good player, quality defender. It's just been one of those days where everything's gone wrong. The player that he's been opposed to has been on the end of either a great kick or has done something pretty special, and that is very special. You can't be closer to your opponent. He's leaning on him. He's got one arm wrapped up. Just too good.
And he comes from good footy stock as well, Jaron Geary, from YCW in the Loddon Valley. His father and his uncles and his grandfather, all big contributors to that footy club. 56-22. Kerr, Lynch into the centre. Kick smothered. Maston. But Fisher gets back and outstretched hands can't mark it, but mops up his own mess.
No pressure then.
Blake. Gilbert. Fisher. Hayes. In tight spaces, yet with confidence. Hanson flies, but can't bring it down. Embley, the rolling ball. Del Santo cuts it off. Kazitsky's inside 50. Glasses with him. Boundary the sanctuary.
Adam Hunter coming from the ground. You've got Hanson's gone back into defence to lend out a hand. They're under siege at the moment, West Coast.
Lynch doing some ruck work against Gardner. Kerr. Dragged down. Half-court a little high. No free. Hayes. Del Santo. Twins out of trouble. Almost a trip. Kerr kicks smothered. And a revolt. A wrap-around high tackle.
I would think Adam Hunter would be a better player going back than Hanson, you know, because he doesn't kick a lot of goals himself, but he has been a defender. It just suits him.
McKenzie missed Maston with the handball. Goddard. Del Santo almost took the mark away from Goddard there. He's about to go for the second grab, and Del Santo grabbed it. Hayes through the hands of Goddard, extracted a kick somehow. Another free for the West Coast.
Well, effectively, everyone bar Dean Cox is in St Kilda's half of the ground, so there's not a lot to kick to when they go forward.
He's got to run all the way here. Could nearly go all the way.
So McCoskey to Hearn. Cox peels back to the square. It's in his direction. He'll have the reach. Can't get a fly at it. Big fist go up. Off hands Lacroix. Oh! That should have been like shelling peas.
He had too much time. He just tried to hit the little check side, the little banana, and he caught the ball right in the middle instead of on the left-hand side. He's just trying to hit the little screw kick, and he caught it right in the middle, and the ball's gone straight in. He probably could have run in.
If that wasn't just as embarrassing enough, when your opponent who was out of your play, you've outread him, he then comes up and bumps you after you miss.
It's such a simple left foot kick.
Yeah. Or look, he could have run in, straightened up and kicked the drop. But sometimes you're not sure how much time you have. He composed himself well. Look, it's a skill error. He should have kicked it anyway.
Montagna back to Blake. Everything going the Saints' way at the moment. Gwilt. Some space at half-back. Thumps it long. Kazitsky comes hard. Gets there and crunches the contest. Knocked them all over. Kerr with the crumb. Front and square. Read it well. Fletcher. Brown. And now Cox at half forward. Fisher, third man up. Clever. Gardner having a good game against his old team. Fisher. Graham dump. Oh, that's tied up by Stengline and no free. And we'll get a ball up. Kazitsky has been knocked out in contest a few times and
he just has eyes for the football, doesn't he? Sometimes to the detriment and to the threat of his own health.
Hayes down to Goddard. He got a kick. Gardner through there or handed it to Montagna. Gave to Graham. Sends it wide. Revolt!
Well
running with the flight.
Well done to Snyder off the ball. When we see the replay of this, Dwayne, held his opponent off, so he knew Rewald. He's going to be sitting duck under the mark, and he held his opponent off, so Rewald, who was running harder to space, could mark this ball.
Hasn't had a massive impact, but continues to work hard. He's up to 11 possessions, but hasn't registered a goal. But you know that you're going to get this over 4 quarters from Nick Rewald. Always contributes.
Hasn't had a massive year either. Only 16 kicks coming into this year. And only 6 of them had hit the target. 6 of those 16. And that one certainly didn't either. Montagna gets on the end of Embley's clearance. And here's a long kick of the ball. Kazitsky, the target, flies, got up, not high enough. Milne is like a bee on your dashboard. He causes havoc everywhere.
Well, you can put that down to the fantastic leap of Justin Kosicki, because again, Ashley Hansen was playing that loose man in defence. They had numbers around the contest West Coast, but Justin Kosicki took them all out when he went up for the mark. You'll have a look as the ball comes in. There's Hansen. He just jumps on his shoulders. That allows the ball to spill the ground. It was a legitimate attempt to mark the ball, and he is very, very good at reading the play, Stephen Milne.
And there is an argument to say that Stephen Milne has been a better forward for St Kilda than Nick Revolt.
Hello?
Virtually the same amount of games, but Milne's kicked more goals.
I'm prepared
from less shots.
I'm prepared to take you on in that argument, Dwayne.
It's just the numbers. Just the numbers. Same amount of games.
Don't forget one was nearly moved on as well.
I know. Dropped last year as well, Stephen Milne.
And the other's considered one of the superstars of the game.
Yeah, they do it different ways, though, too.
Long kick. Fisher. Hand on it. Lacroix to make amends. Hand gets the kick away, but it's wide. It's on his preferred right, but couldn't bring it around.
Well, we get hit by his own man there.
Friendly fire, I think.
Just the West Coast Eagles, they've got so many players behind the ball. They're just trying to stem the flow at the moment. That's why they cannot get through centre half. Bad kick here.
Goddard thought Graham was looking.
Look at the numbers there, Wayne.
Fisher, Jones, Graham. Oh, I thought it was a throw. Kerr, good tackle.
Good tackle. Very good tackle, Daniel Kerr, you're right.
And good umpiring as well to see that
nobody to kick to.
No one to kick. That's why they've got so many behind it.
Yep.
They're trying to hold the damn wall up.
With 3 or 4 loose St Kilda players in the defensive 50 outnumbering West Coast forwards.
Cox thumps it long. Big leapers go up. Hits the deck. Lacroix again. Wrapped up again. And St Kilda out tackling their opposition again.
That is a super tackle. Yeah. He does not get his fist on the ball. Finally, Tyson Stengline has gone to Lee Montagna, sure?
Gee. They're taking a quarter and a half.
Maston got the backward swipe from Cox. Lacroix straight up in the air. Del Santo got the call to play on. Did so to Hayes. Fisher. Blake. All the time in the world at the moment, the Saints. Gilbert.
Oh, that's 50.
This zone at 50.
Just when you're putting a little bit of pressure to go over the mark by 2 steps.
Well, the umpire's saying he didn't play on, but there is also an argument to say he wheeled out onto his left foot. He was going to chip it out to the pocket. I think that's a tough decision.
You can't guess, though. You have to wait until they say play on before you can go over the mark.
Sometimes you get penalised for reading the play a bit quicker than the umpire.
Farron Ray from one half-back flank to Blake. And now Goddard. Gets around Rosa. And Kosicki on the move, takes the chest mark and maybe within range here.
He's gone to Goddard.
For number 5. No, doesn't go for goal. Goes for Revolt.
Great setup.
And he's already had a sider in that pocket. Doesn't want it. Del Santo from the 1-step, run up. Goals it. Saints unstoppable.
Well, it certainly looks like we are headed for a blowout here. The only negative to that whole passage of play as far as St Kilda's concerned is that Nick Revolt didn't want to have the set shot for goal after his last shank. He was very happy to give it off. We see the sort of game that Goddard's playing. He kicks 4 goals in the first quarter, then he gets moved out of the 50.
I think that was a great identification of each other's ability. You know, Kosicki and Goddard, maybe he can run the 50 and go, and then the left footer coming from the other side. I know exactly what you're saying about Revolt because he gets nervous and running goals when it's not working, but that left foot opened up the goal wing with Del Santo, who's not a great goal kicker himself, but I think he identified his abilities.
About to tick into time on second term. West Coast on the canvas. Jones all the way back. Blake, Gwilt, tried for Hayes, missed him. Selwood, good chance here. Lacroix turns, shoot from there. It's a wobbler, it'll be a goal regardless. Lacroix has 3. Now he has.
Well, it's an amazing result because he was 1 against 3, Mark Lacroix, but he found a little pocket of space just at the top of the corridor. You see the turnover, the Gwilt hand pass, no good. Selwood, it didn't hit him, but he's actually surrounded. He's got players on both sides, one behind him sweeping, but he's good enough to turn and kick the goal again. Wasn't a great kick off the boot, but they'll take it. 3 first-half goals for Mark McGrath. He's been one player that can hold his head high.
McGrath has 3. The West Coast Eagles 4 goals.
Gee, the big problem though, McKinley's had 1 possession, Lynch has had 5 possessions, Hanson's had 3 possessions, and only 1 inside the 50 out of the lot. Yeah, this man's holding it up, Mark McGrath.
Dean Cox didn't know what to do there. He was looking where he could jump onto Stephen King, but he wasn't there.
King to Montagna. Long pump. Revolt, stalking it. Pushed as he attempted the mark. Gets a free. Will he hand off again? We'll go for goal.
There's no one around him to do it this time.
He's not looking confident, is he?
Didn't have a lot of time to think about it, so
Sets it up.
does. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I'm not sure that he set it up, Dwayne, but
Spilt mark. McWalter. Milne tried a 3-metre kick. Schneider, the tackle. Gets it up to Prittis. Good. Milne tracked him down and rolled him on the tackle. And keeps the ball in the area rather than give away a free.
Gee, that Ross Lyon, he'd be wrapped with the offensive side of the game, and they're kicking so many goals at this stage. But Milne tackling, Dalsano tackling, Lee Montagna had 10 tackles last week. He's tackling. Great signs.
Cox with the thump down to Kerr, tackled, threw it out to Embley, who somehow gets it out to Nikoski. Pushing the back. No, threw it out. Free kick. Ball's ball. Over Kazitsky's head. Gardner came hard, knocked it down. McWalter with the crumb. And he gets some cream.
Great contest by Gardner. I think it was in the ruck when Jason.
He cleaned them all up. This was the throw against Nikoski again. Terrific tackle. Didn't get the fist on the ball. And Michael Gardner just having a rest forward. He crashes the pack. He takes out Eric McKenzie. And it's a good little left foot snap on the opposite boot from Andrew McWalter. They're leaking like a sieve now, West Coast Eagles.
Difference on the ladder from last year being exposed right now. West Coast, worst season in their history, 15th last year. The Saints were a premiership contender. At the moment, they look like a contender again this year. Ball. Can't get it out. Prittis fights hard. Get a secondary ball up with 6 minutes on the clock. Lee Colbert.
Efficiency, the name of the game, boys. The Saints have been inside 50 11 times for 7 goals in this quarter. Just wonders. That shot on goal by Fletcher in the first quarter misses. All the heads go down for the Eagles, and they haven't looked back to St Kilda Footy Club.
You're right, Colby. That Fletcher kick in the first term was to give them the lead. Jones. Well, he shrugged that high from Embley. Unlucky, Andrew Embley. Jones. Goddard. Just enjoying a little bit of freedom at half-back at the moment. To King. Couldn't take the mark, but gee, fought on well on the ground. Lecras edged out of it by Gwilt. Threads the handball to Baker. Throws it on the boot, hoping for Gardner. Again, he crushes the pack. And that might be 50 as well. Glass knocked down after he marked it.
Daniel Kerr in there against Cozzy. What did I do?
Yeah, how innocent is he trying to be? He's just bowled him over after he's taken a chest mark. There's the chest mark. And then just hip and shoulder and belts him and says, what's wrong with that?
Oh, they've messed this up. Glass went to Lynch for the big long kick. It hits the deck. Lynch ducks into trouble.
Did well to get the handball out there.
Glass, Nikoski, he gets the kick away. Hanson the target, runs hard and gets there. Plays on to 50, centering kick. Tough one to mark. Very good mark though to Blake.
Not quite sure what Chad Fletcher was trying to do there. A half-hearted attempt at flying, but he should have just been trying to crumb it.
So Ben McKinley is a key marking forward too. His body language has been shocking. I know the ball and the supply hasn't been great, but you've got to compete over the top to get back into the game.
Yes, only 11 possessions last week in that big win. Ben McKinley without a goal for the season so far, last week being his first game of the year. Hasn't had a good day at the office so far today as Schneider goes all the way back to Zach Dawson. He's enjoying his new club.
And Adam Hunter, he looks like a fish out of water up forward. Yeah, I know he's competitive, but you need some class to get off your man. He just hasn't got the speed to do it.
Blake to Goddard. That's dangerous. Kerr. Gardner not played the mark, but played on straight to Hayes. Fisher. King's on the move from full forward. In his direction, almost with the one hand. Geary. Quick kick as the pick up and caught behind Kazitsky.
Well done, Brett Jones. Well done, positioning himself in front.
Hearn. Half-time can't come quick enough for the West Coast. Got a good recent record against the Saints, the West Coast.
Just no flow, Dwayne. There's no through the lines. They can't even get the ball to the wing to get it into the corridor like St Kilda are doing.
Beat them last year when they played. Their one and only time was at Subiaco, the West Coast, by 17 points. One of their few wins, 2 wins of the year. Nikoski. Short. Embley. Fletcher. Nikoski.
Now the idea here is if you keep switching, you've got to find space out wide to then open up the target.
Revolt cuts it off. Gets a little shepherd from Geary. Wanted to give it to him. Geary still wanted to shepherd. Revolt on the move. Fantastic kick, Kazitsky.
Well, when you keep switching the play, it's normally to keep shifting the defence, but if your skills aren't good enough to do it and they're not quick enough, they've got no flow at all, we've just said a minute ago, and it's going to cause a turnover, especially when Nick Rewalt got a bit of speed for a big bloke, so the interception, he read it well.
Wanted to give it away first up. You saw the hand pass there to Jaron Geary. Didn't come off, but then he was good enough to recover and find Kazitsky.
He's never had a big game in front of girls, Justin Kazitsky. Never kicked more than 5 in a game. He's now got 3, and we're not yet to half-time.
Well, certainly the tall targets up forward for St Kilda are causing all sorts of problems for West Coast. If they're not taking the marks and kicking goals, they're certainly creating damage at contests, bringing the ball to the ground, and then things are happening off those contests. His mobility, his height, his reach, all those things make him such a dangerous factor, Nick Rewalt, even if he's not kicking goals. And then the ability to execute on the opposite side of the body to find his twin tower, Justin Kazitsky, killing them at the moment.
Hasn't Ross Lyon pulled some aces from his sleeve today? Started with Goddard at full forward, kicked him 4. Now Kazitsky there, he's kicked him 3. Free kick. No, reset the square, another ball up.
The other thing, Quentin Lynch, he's nearly playing as a ruck rover at the moment. I think they've got to have either Lynch or Dean Cox when they go off the ruck. Quentin Lynch is in that centre bounce now as a ruck rover, roving to Cox. You need a marking player up forward.
Gardner and Cox go at it again. Prentice caught by Jones and a gang tackle in the end. Another ball up, still inside the centre circle. Goddard having a rest. Maybe about to come on for the last 2 minutes. Umpire yelling and screaming. You throw a tea towel over 20 of them in that circle. Free kick, but advantage to Del Santo. Gwilt. Good hands. Hearn thought he had that. Poke pass. Gardner in the pocket.
Well, that's clever play. I mean, we're so used to seeing Dean Cox be used around the ground, cover territory and run. When they won that clearance in the middle of the ground, he took off forward, Michael Gardner, and he found his own bit of space, and it was duly honoured by Nick Del Santo.
Well, taught Dean Cox a few lessons early in Dean Cox's career. When Cox was his understudy.
Would he love that?
He's teaching him a lesson or 2 today.
I think the floodgates are officially open.
Officially, I think that happened about 20 minutes ago. Beautiful kick out, and Gwilt here, great mark, as Dwayne said. No doubt Hearn thought he was going to get his hands in. But, gee, for Garden to get through there, that's either Dean Cox has put no time into him or physically he might be spent because he's doing a lot of work. Again, I say, they've got to get some balance. Maybe put Lynch forward, Hunter to the back line who's played down there before, and swap Cox and Lynch into their forward line.
I do say the greatest masters are those that leave even greater apprentices. Dean Cox certainly is a great apprentice. I think that's Nitschke. It might be Yoda, I'm not sure. But from the ball up,
Confucius, which one?
Selwood to half forward. Hanson missed the target again. Geary back to Baker.
Can you believe he's playing centre-half back now, Brendan Goddard?
And here he is, collects.
4 in the first quarter and he's playing centre-half back.
Montagna from defensive 50. Thumps it long. Maybe time for another score here. Gwilt and Hearn. Selwood, little fumble. Boundary line his friend if he wants it. Went to Fletcher who gave to Jones and now St Kilda have it. Gwilt, Dalcerdo's kick smother. Ball in, 54 seconds on the clock. And the Saints fans rise. Massive round of applause here at Etihad Stadium. They've enjoyed everything they've seen from their team this year. Cox and Gardner will knock down to Selwood. Here's kick smothered. Another round of applause. Prittis. Kerr. Another gang tackle. Another round of applause. And that might be a push in the back.
It should have been a push. What about the pressure? You know, you can see it week in, week out. The first 2 games, the highest tackling side in the competition, but they're just continuing that vein.
Another masterstroke by Ross Lyon. Clinton Jones, he's had 14 possessions. He's kept Daniel Kerr to 10, and of those 10, just 2 are kicks.
Dalcerdo quickly inside 50. Hearn, the full 360, gave it up. Ray, McWalter, Milne, put it in the book. Stevie Milne with another.
I think one of the hardest parts about gauging just how good St Kilda are, Shaw, is we also have to work out what sort of resistance they're getting from West Coast. But you can only beat who's put in front of you. Shannon Hearn and Mark Nikoski coming to grief. Certainly Nikoski was anyway. But they are just queuing up St Kilda, running in numbers. Too good, too classy, too quick. And smashing them on the scoreboard.
Jones on Milne at the moment. 92-29, and Nikoski in the bump with Hearn.
That opened up Milne because that's his opponent.
Yeah, bad enough when you're running into the opposition, but you don't need teammates barrelling to do it. But they've scored 15 goals and a half of footy, St Kilda.
Prittis with the play on advantage. The seconds tick. 5 left as Cox sends it inside 50. Lacroix back of the pack. Davis tries the scoop. Graham, Davis, siren beats the lot. And the St Kilda fans rise. It's a standing ovation here at halftime for their boys. A 15-goal opening half to the Saints. 15-2-92 to the West Coast. 4-5-29.
But it always seems to be the cameras on them when they do it.
Well, they need a lift from a lot of areas. As I said, I think you just drop the tags and just try and win your own ball now. And you have to get that, get some ascendancy in the middle of the ground, get a nice little setup in your forward line. The defenders, they've been under enormous pressure, just too much supply and unpressured supply.
Selwood now onto Montagna.
Yeah, it had to happen.
So King versus the King in the ruck. And King with the flick back to Kerr. Davis.
50 metres.
And that'll be 50.
Yep.
No.
Well, then what's wrong with playing the advantage? I don't understand that decision because it's in clean possession of the West Coast Eagles. They're running forward under no pressure.
Correct.
And he brings it back.
And the Saints have now got every man behind the ball.
Well, now you see the hand pass here.
Yeah, that's
There's the whistle. How could you not say advantage? Because he is streaming clear.
A lack of vision after the incident.
Oh, yeah, that's a sack.
One of the worst kicks we've ever seen from his boot. Blake, Hayes, and Kazitsky. So the Saints have resumed from where they left off.
And I guess that's the flip side. St Kilda have been very clean with their skills, look particularly polished.
Montagna, yet another inside 50 to Revolt. Gee, he was crushed after the big fly. Milne pushed out of it. Kerr caught by McWalter. Got it off to Prittis. Kenzie gave it to Prittis. Not sure Prittis called for it. He just saw the body and gave. Rosa ran into a brick wall. Geary, Gwilt, Graham, King, high. Milne and Kazitsky under it. Kazitsky! Gee, that was strong.
That's too good.
Again, that was Davis going into marking. I think Glass had just lost him or in the contest when they thought they had the ball.
They came from different directions. They come from different directions. You have a look at Davis coming from that side. Revolt. Now, there's Davis with him. Glass comes from the side, goes up with the one arm spoil and still can't get high enough to cover the leap of Kazitsky.
He's got 3 straight. He now has 4.
About the worst sign for the West Coast Eagles.
You know, it's amazing when that advantage free kick on the wing wasn't paid, everything then worked back to St Kilda's way. But on that occasion, I don't think Davis would be his matchup. I'm going to keep watching behind. No, it was Glass, and I think what happened when they had the ball, turned it over, it was McKenzie in the middle of the ground. That meant that Glass had probably run a little bit, lost his way, and Davis not big enough in the air to take on Cozzy, but geez, ran hard at the contest.
Arguably the second best fullback behind Matty Scarlett. Got a fist to that, and yet the fist couldn't shake the ball from Kazitsky's grip. From the ball up, Cox trying to inspire them. Get another ball up.
I know it might be against a lot of the way that they've set up the West Coast Eagles. Maybe it's time not to go to Daniel Kerr from the tap out, the clearances. Let him become an outside player, because the Saints players, they're helping out Jones. Every time Kerr gets it, there's 2 to 3 players going at him. Maybe release it to someone else if you can, a lesser name. There
Again down to Kerr, and again he's mauled. Hayes to King. Revolt comes hard. The spoil from Nikoski to the back. Kazitsky, he attacked it. He was grabbed.
Had to be a free kick
grabbing. Okay.
He had him in a headlock. Right. It'll come back to Darren Glass. As they attacked the footy, the right arm of Justin Kazitsky went around the head of Darren Glass.
Selwood to Prittis. Cox. Little push.
Oh, yeah.
No free against Dawson there. Gwilt. Fisher. Goddard.
Hughes looks in board. Here it is again. They've done it brilliantly.
Blake. Good strong grab. Got away from Lacroix, who had to make some late ground. Open flank here for Blake. Revolt's about to lead into that opening. And it's in his direction now. Takes the leap, and again edged under it by McKenzie. Clever, a little bit of tunnelling, but Revolt didn't go down to accentuate it.
You're right, Dwayne, it was clever because it was very subtle. It was just a little nudge at the right time. Nick Revolt shakes his head because just as he's about to leap to contest the mark, he gets pushed under the ball. Ever so subtle, he just uses the forearm just on the back of the hip.
Got to do the Matty Lloyd. Has to do the Matty Lloyd with the big accentuated dive to get that free. And you think I'm messing around, but in all seriousness, he probably does have to do that at some stage.
But Dwayne, when you called that space for Revolt to work in, we can see it up here, but what about the defenders of West Coast Eagles not playing off their men to help out?
Yep. Rosa had it, but left it behind. Davis mops up his mess. Jones got it from Cox. Last line of defence, knocked away and not kept in. And behind. Nikoski entrusted with the kick in. Forced to go to Jones to the pocket, and St Kilda will be happy with that. Commits them to a side. Maston, they're committed to that side of the ground. Selwood dragged down. That was very, very high. Hayes
just
knocked over. Okay. So that's okay, Shorey?
No, it's a free kick, but it's not reportable, you wouldn't think. You know, when you try and stretch out and just... Nah, that's just a... That's a
good coat hanger.
I don't think you get carried away. We don't see many of them.
Cox, strong grab in the pack.
He knows how to find the football, Dean Cox, doesn't he? He's up to possession number 19.
Outstanding long kick. Gilbert cuts it off, and he gets a coat hanger and 50 against Hunter.
Oh, that's so soft. I mean, it's dumb. It's dumb by Adam Hunter, but it's extremely soft.
But Adam Hunter should not be playing here. He's not a natural forward. He's a competitor. Get him into the back line where he can play off and fill some of those spaces.
Hand off to Graham, who launches a long ball from 50. More pain for the West Coast Eagles.
Well, I think we get two contrasting headlines out of today, Shorey. It's people will be firmly on the St.Kilda bandwagon, and it'll be a matter of how far can they go this year, and then it'll be the embarrassment. The flip side for West Coast is just how bad are they. He actually doesn't make contact with the arm. He just brushes him with his armpit over the top of his hair, which makes it even sillier to give away a 50-metre penalty and a resulting goal for that.
I just think the one thing too, the identification of this St Kilda side of their teammates' strengths has been fantastic today. You know, the knowledge of handballing to someone on the left side, someone who can kick the ball longer than yourself. And Graham, we know, he's just a go-to player at all times.
Bad ball up. It'll be tossed in the air.
You tell what, these umpires, I reckon it's a great rule, the reset rule, but a lot of these umpires who don't bounce the ball well and have problems during the year normally don't get finals. Well, no, that's true. If you don't bounce the ball, Dwayne, it's happened in the past. You're not a great bouncer. A lot of times you miss out in finals, especially grand finals.
Better run here, guys.
So Damien Sully needs to improve for you, sure he doesn't.
No doubt. They look at it every time.
That was a good one.
There you go. That's
on
all
cue.
right.
Cox down the ball, fronts by Prittis. Ball up again for Damien Sully. 105 to 29. Led by 16 points at quarter time. St Kilda punts that out to 63 with a 10-goal second term at halftime. Hearn to Kerr under pressure again from Jones. Jones just waited for him to get it so he could grab him. Del Santo, Revolt and Kazitsky. Oh, they almost collide. And Schneider can not get there.
Tell you what,
ball in.
I think everyone held their breath then.
Yep.
Because both pairs, Cozzy and Revolt, and their opponents, Mackenzie and Glass, and they all got up unscathed, and very happy to see that because that could have been a massive collision.
Revolt was clever there. He knew it was Kazitsky coming, and Kazitsky sometimes has a little trouble with the peripheral. So he got out of the way. Oh, Kerr's kicked that out on the full.
Unlucky.
Tell you what, Montagna, if he has a shot here, he takes his time. He's just skilled enough, but great vision. Great vision.
And you can't blame Daniel Kerr for his man mark.
Oh, he's played on. Run in and gold on Kerr. Just to rub it in a little more, Clinton Jones.
Well, Daniel Kerr can't be blamed for
blame
Clinton Jones because he's standing the mark after, unfortunately, accidentally kicking the ball out on the full. So one of his teammates has to give him a chop out. You can see here, he does well. He moves Montagna off the ball.
Oh,
that's a bump ball.
Yeah.
That's a bump ball and shouldn't have been out on the full. That's a very unlucky decision. But then his man ducks into space, gets the good little chip over the top, and then, boy, he won't like that. Adam Selwood.
And they both know each other pretty well, Kerr and Jones. Kerr, an East Fremantle boy, and Clinton Jones, two-time best and fairest with South Fremantle. And finished third 1 year in the Sandover behind Matt Prittis, Clinton Jones. So he's not young, comes in with some good form though into the St Kilda lineup and gets the clearance on cue.
Certainly showing a good tank the way he's covered Daniel Kerr.
Well, he's 25 years of age. And he hunts down Kerr, Davis, Cox. Didn't have the footy, so back to
So wouldn't that be a
Davis.
50-metre penalty if that didn't have the footy, was still held after he handballed?
Prittis.
On the new rule.
Rosa, we're just contemplating that one, Shorey.
Okay.
Rosa sends it along to the square, and that's touched just.
They haven't looked like marking the ball inside 50. The West Coast Eagles have not looked like it.
Conspicuous in his absence today, Quentin Lynch, just the 3 kicks, 4 hand passes, 7 possessions, but none of them in dangerous positions around the ground.
Rewald clever. Oh, not quite as clever as he thought he was. Stolen by Nikoski. High bomb. And Quentin Lynch on cue, just as you said he'd done nothing, Shuri.
No, that was me. And there was nothing sure that had I said that, he was going to take a hanger, and now we go back and thread it.
And I was exactly with him, nodding my head going, you're right, Jason. He hasn't done anything, and there he goes.
That's a terrific contested mark.
That's their third for the game.
One good clean grab.
Against 16, I think, for the opposition. So
Please kick the goal.
For his first of the day.
oh, he's got it.
He made the goal umpire work.
Only just.
Well, we're nearly laughing about their lack of marking ability inside 50, but first time Nick Riewoldt just got ahead of himself a little bit there, but you've got to keep doing that. When you're ahead like you are and you've been playing offensive flowing football, you give your first thought and just got it intercepted, and then Quentin Lynch, he was looking for a bit of contact behind the neck too. That's what happens when you're down in confidence here. But he marks the ball but ducks the head at the same time. A good mark, good finish. They need a lot more of that.
8 possession, 4 kick, 1 goal. Afternoon at the office for Quentin Lynch so far. Played 12 minutes third term. Cox and Gardner again. Jim McWalter came in hard. You heard fair bump on Pritis. Another pack forms, ball up. Saints looking an undefeated start to this season. The first 3 games, they have Fremantle here at Etihad Stadium in round 4. All interstate teams in the first 4 rounds, the Saints, and so far so good. Ray lays the tackle. It came out. Montagna had it but lost it. Gets a little push. The umpire thinks it's come out. Whoop, it's in.
Held to it. All right. Stay here, right up. Thanks, Lee. Lee, mate. Everyone go down. Front hole.
Umpires doing their own commentary. Kerr caught Montagna. Pritis, Rosa, Selwood.
The impressive thing about St Kilda, Clinton Jones has done a great job on Daniel Kerr, but every time he hasn't been there to tackle him, someone else has. They've had a great awareness to make sure that they haven't just left it up to Clinton Jones.
That's why Kerr, I think you've got to go to another.
McWalter here.
You've got to go to another. You have to go to another target, but because you've based your game around a bloke like Daniel Kerr for so long, it's hard to change it in mid-stride during the quarter. You have to get to that break to do it.
Andrew McWalter just wandering through the mark, I believe.
There's your explanation.
Yep, and this is a similar spot to where we saw Chad Fletcher miss one, maybe another 5 metres further out. You'd expect Matt Pritis to make no mistake here.
He did kick 2 goals 9 last year, and his kicking a goal wasn't that flash.
Oh, Dwayne.
Well, it does accentuate the fact that he does get some pretty big numbers every game, but has a low score and score assist rate as a percentage of his possessions. Matt Pritis needs to kick those, surely. Hayes.
You think about it, 5 goals, 7, West Coast, 18 goals, 3.
Yep.
There's been a kicking display from St Kilda in front of goal today.
Geary. Tough kick to mark. Ray at least stood under it. Cox had it, gave it to McWalter. Hands off to Hayes. Bounce pass through Kazetsky. Stephen Milne feeding back. Some more pressure for Glass. Gets away with it to Ebert. Caught by Graham. Got a kick away. Bouncing ball. McKenzie hunts it down. Riewoldt coming after him. Corrals. Hearn gets through Goddard and has some space. Bounces and kicks long. Great kick. McKinlay, and the jumping mark was clever.
Now,
Wasn't that fantastic?
that couldn't have happened unless you had someone that can kick the ball 60 metres, and that's what Shannon Hearn did. He did a terrific little sidestep on Brendan Goddard, little shimmy of the hips, and off he went. He did it very well. Then the long kick gave McKinley a run and jump, and Dawson couldn't get back in time.
Well, maybe Hearn's the player you'd look to play in the midfield the last quarter to see if he can do that job a bit more. He has done it a couple of times, but as you said, that penetration was fantastic on that occasion.
Just the 1 possession so far. And now has 1 goal to his name.
They've got to try and salvage something out of the second half, West Coast. They're 10 goals down at half-time. St Kilda come out and go bang, bang, bang early in the third term, and you start to think this is going to be a 100-point shellacking, but John Worsfold's men have to get something out of the second half. They've got to have something they can hang on to take as a positive into next week. And if it means outscoring St Kilda in a quarter or holding their own in the second half, they've got to find something.
St Kilda with Fremantle and West Coast with the Bulldogs next week. McKinlay with the goal. Cox jumped early. King stood his ground with the palm. With a kick that was half smothered, but Milne tracks it down, tries to run through Hearn. Got a kick away in the revolt direction. Slick hands. Montagna gets away from Fletcher. A wobbler. Kazitsky. Glass. Glass wins. Nikoski. Revolt corrals him. Pressure on the kick. And Stengline in game 200 can't gather. Goddard can't trap it. He looks almost spent, Goddard. Brown, handball poor for Ebert. Cut off by Fisher. Here they go again on the rebound. Goddard from the pocket. Try from McWalter. Gets him. Gives to Revolt. He spins it around the body. And misses. It's a little too easy for St Kilda at the moment.
Yeah, he'll be off to goal kicking school, Nick Revolt, after missing one. It's spoiling their conversion rate, isn't it? 18 goals, 4 is exceptional. They are under siege every time they get the ball, West Coast. And that's a great sign from St Kilda too. When the game's over, to be able to maintain that defensive intensity would probably be the thing that pleases Ross Lyon the most.
Ray stands under and marks. West Coast Eagles players filling space. Ray called to play on. Takes them on. Centering kick. Revolt flies. Oh, he took out Stengline.
Yeah. Has to be a free kick. Took his eye off the ball at the contact.
I think what Nick Revolt's saying is that Stengline wasn't even looking at the ball.
No, you're right there too.
He wasn't, but he got one for his trouble. He got it.
Well, the great thing about it, and well done, great interception there by Gilbert. One thing about these forwards who keep running at the ball like Kaczynski, Revolt, they've been kamikaze in their marking efforts. Ground level, you're going to mop up. You're going to get opportunities if you're a coming player in the St Kilda side.
A hold to Cox and King. No, it was off the ball. Fletcher holding Montagna. Pops it to the pocket. Revolt.
There's another one.
Second grab, couldn't mark it. But they have to be prepared to crunch those packs, the big forwards.
Well, you don't go back, Dwayne. As a defender, you keep coming and you keep going back and getting crunched. Next time, you're just a bit wary of it. And you don't want to push back and help out as much.
Ray thumps it down, but to Rosa. Brown. Embley. Selwood. Back to Embley. And they've got some run at the moment, the West Coast, which is good. Although Kerr forced to backtrack all the way back into defensive 50. His old mate Cox might get him out of trouble. He does.
Hanson's come on a long lead. Ignored.
Jones. Kaczynski, good effort. Embley the crumb. Might go back to Brown, who was knocked over in that marking contest. Goes to Glass. Back to Embley. Back to Glass. He runs the corridor. Handball's behind Maston, who ran on, didn't realise it was coming his way. Selwood. More handball. Prentice. More handball. Fletcher. From 50. McKinlay with the fly. Takes the pack down. Blake. Fisher's hurt. Del Santo. And now Ray. Sends it wide. Jones with the boundary line lurking. Keeps it alive. There's some confidence for you. King. Numbers in the middle. McWalter. Schneider. In a one-on-one with McKenzie.
Good work. Good Shepherd.
Hearn, Kerr, McKenzie, another possession for the reward. Prentice. And now Hanson can't get there, and Del Santo cuts it off. Milne wants it in a 2-on-1. Del Santo says no. Fisher.
They just haven't known how to get the ball going forward, because whenever they do win it at half-back, West Coast, they look up and they just see St Kilda players.
We've ticked into time on third term. Blake. Gilbert. Del Santo, he can pump this long or pump it to Milne. He pumps it to Milne. Off hands. Jones again. Runs to the pocket. Rolls it toward goal, but it doesn't get the bounce. Brown. And now Stengline on the open side can get and go. Does go to Fletcher with some space to move. Not a lot to go to. Short to Maston. Cut off by Dawson. He's never had it so good. Long kick from Graham. Milne clears some space for himself. Jones traps it. High to the square. Brown gets back. It's a fist.
Clint Jones, he just lacks that little bit of kicking polish, doesn't it, to finish it off here.
I'll tell you what, both he and Daniel Curry-Mack, it is I think a cork in the left buttock, yep, and they hurt, don't they?
Do they what? They might come out 2 weeks later, that bruise.
I'll tell you what, sure, I'm just looking at Clinton Jones and Daniel Kerr. They've both been involved in the last 3 or 4 passages.
Spent.
Hands on hips, heads down. They are just knackered, can barely lift their feet. And yet they go again. Extraordinary.
Fox and King. King had hold of... I think it was Lynch in the ruck this time, so King had hold of him. Dean Cox just having a rest. Fletcher. Davis. To Fletcher and now Embley. Brown. Stengline in a little trouble. Gets it away just in time. Big leap. Hunter. Playing forward again and hoping they can bring this margin closer than the 70 points it currently stands at.
Well, 30 seconds ago, Shaw, I was about to say that he's been very disappointing, Adam Hunter, because he's only had the 1 kick for the day, 1 hand pass.
Well, he has been.
He kicked a goal, and lo and behold, as soon as I think about it, he takes another one, but let's hope he can kick the goal.
Yes, 1 in the opening term, and now 1 in the third.
Well, the other thing about that, in that marking contest, we saw Sammy Fisher get a knee to the buttock and thought he might have a corky there, but he had to go back. And I was just watching the body language to say, do I want to get back there? Do I want to get back there? Look at him here, right in front. He's thinking, uh-oh, here we go again. Didn't have the sit. Nearly did protect himself staying side on. No footballer wants to be there, but you've got to go there all the time. It just shows the quality of Sam Fisher.
Margin back to 64 points.
Operating at 100%, Adam Hunter. 2 kicks, 2 goals.
And the ball up. Lynch still in the ruck against King. Ball. Put it out to Ray, but he lost it. Graham. Ball. Tried to sell the dummy. Montagna crunched. Dispossessed. Fletcher. Stengline. Inside 50 again for the West Coast. Getting back Gilbert. Has a bounce and takes them on through the middle.
Numbers in the centre square.
Gee, they do that well. They just keep going back in there.
Schneider, tough ball for Revolt. Bounce was kind to him. Takes on Brown, sends it to the pocket. Gardner. Cut off by Davis. He wants to come back into the corridor. Fletcher. Davis. Oh, he ran into Quill. Dumped. Holding the ball. Graham. Play on advantage. He could have taken his pick there. Del Santo, Goddard, they're all there, and Gardner takes the mark. 35 out.
I just couldn't work out that hand pass from Chad Fletcher. He's handballed it to Ryan Davis, who's running in between 4 St.Kilda players. What hope did he have? If Fletcher had have looked over the other side of the ground, they were wide open for the switch. He had a couple of players running. And then an experienced player, you expect him to explore his options a bit better than that.
Just the 9 games last year after he didn't play at all in 2007. Michael Gardner, but he's having a good year so far this year. He's got 2 for the day.
Well, the thing about coming up against St Kilda, if they are allowed, if they want to and they tackle like they do in pressure, you have to change your game style. And I'm with you, Jason. This is a kamikaze handball.
What chance did he have?
You have got no hope, but that's what St Kilda want you to do. If you kick the ball and hold possession, that zone you can start breaking it up. As soon as you handball, and you saw it last week when they won that game, that they pressured. Every time you handball, you can put pressure on it because you don't have to stand the mark.
Could there be a happy ending yet for Michael Gardner in his career? Didn't play in the West Coast Eagles premiership. But the Saints only early, but they look like they might play a role in September. Free kick out of the ruck contest, and ball being held as the ruckman went up to Del Santo. Geary. Goddard inside 50, calling for it. Jones peels off Kerr.
That is slack from Kerr, but I know he's tired.
Del Santo in the revolt direction. Goddard turns around. It was there. Schneider strolls in. It's a clinic.
Just want to say how slack. I just said it before they kicked the goal, but I was watching up the field. What happened? Jones pushed forward. You can see Kerr on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yep.
No defensive pressure, so it lets the outlet come out from the wing, and that is just like a training drill. But Daniel Kerr, super player, and look, he's probably exhausted, but you've still got to play your role within the team. And if you're a superstar, you've still got to play defence, and he didn't on that occasion.
Margin back to 76 points.
He becomes the 12th individual goal kicker for St Kilda. Just 4 goal kickers for West Coast.
It's been talk about their defence being good this year. One of the greats of all time, Stephen Silvani, in that coach's box with Ross Lyon. As Gardner again affects the clearance. Gwilt, Hayes, back to Gardner, to revolt. Gee, that's a good kick. And a good grab. Graham to the pocket. Good shepherd from Milne, allowed ball to collect.
He worked hard for it, Luke Ball. He's been quiet today. He's always in there burrowing about, trying to do things. He looks for a short pass.
Geary.
He was slack.
He's had just the 8 possessions, Luke Ball. In fact, that was his 9th as we speak.
For Jaron Geary, he's already got 1. This is just game 13. Richard Early comes from good footy stock, but good junior career as well. Bendigo Pioneers best and fairest back in 2006. Ahead of Joel Selwood that year when he won that BNF. We know how good Joel Selwood's become. Oh, misses to the near side.
So he won the best and fairest ahead of Joel Selwood in under-18s. Oh, gee, you might be hanging the hat on that one.
Must have been some season.
Gee.
Hearn from the kick-in.
Well, what number was he picked up, Twain, as in drafted, Jared?
Tell you shortly, sure, if you like.
Well, I've got to think if he was a high draft pick, it was a good pick.
It's unlikely not to have that on the top.
Yeah, Dwayne, sorry, one question without notice.
I've got to call this a little bit of play, otherwise I have it straight away. Lynch, McKinlay, handball inboard to Kerr, put him under pressure again. Gwilt, caught. Gilbert, Baker, Hayes, Del Santo. It's become a bit of a training run. He was dumped downfield.
Oh, he's Graham.
Kaczynski marked it regardless. And Graham can go the whole way here. Sizes them up from 50. The exhibition continues, although it's a behind.
Gee whiz. Now, you know what's happened here. Del Santo started to let off the hook because Montaigne's been tagged. Oh, all the St Kilda players, just get out of that. You don't want to get anywhere near this. At the top of your form, you don't want to be missing games.
Embley, Fletcher, Selwood. Edith. Hands off to Cox and lays a half shepherd. Long kick. Hoping for Hunter again. Back of the pack. McCraw gives off. McKinlay from 30 out. Brings it back to 72.
Great build-up. The way that they move the ball from half-back flank is a way that you want to move it. And just shoot by hand and foot.
We've got a report here, Stengline and Del Santo.
For striking each other, or did...
They've both been reported for wrestling.
So a wrestling report, and by the way, Geary was a rookie elevation.
He was a rookie.
That's why he didn't know what number it was straight away.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, Tyson Stengline and Nick Del Santo both reported for wrestling. Wrestling each other, in fact.
Oh, good tackle, dumping tackle. Stengline, little rolling ball. Ebert with a free. Into the 31st minute of this third term. Mitch Brown.
Brendan Lynch frustrated that his lead wasn't on it. He's still leading straight up the ground.
Pinpoints the pass.
Now he's
Way to go here.
So Brendan Lynch to load up.
Isn't that a great confidence when you mark the ball as you're jogging over the corner of the centre square and you just use your hand to say, settle down, boys, I'm going to go back and have a shot.
Well, the other question you've got to ask...
It's extraordinary.
You've got to ask the question why he wasn't played in the first half in the forward line a lot more, because he can do this.
He's going to kick this from inside the centre square.
Don't go forward.
Geez, loaded up.
My word.
Great to see.
All the way, Brendan Lynch.
Well, they've done well. They've done well, Jason. They've kicked the 5 goals to the 5, so it hasn't been a walkover. But, gee, that was great confidence. I think the problem, everybody's saying goal kicking, the accuracy, they're not as good in today's game. But I think it's about body language. You know, you're a great kick. But you see a lot of players go back from 35, 40 metres, and they don't even look like they want to kick a goal. Nick Riewoldt does it. When you see that, I think it leads you into a good technique after that.
He wanted it.
Two for the quarter for Quentin Lynch. Del Santo.
Don't push him. Yeah, watching on the line. Mitch, yeah, watching Mitch. Don't push him in.
Oh, just getting a late knock there.
And that spot led to the wrestle. And the fine for the two of them, you would think, as Gwilt in the dying seconds dump. McKinlay throws it to his own advantage.
Oh, magnificent tackle.
Hunted down by Gilbert and put into the turf. Won't be time enough, perhaps, for a Saints score, though the clock stops here. And now begins to roll again.
That's yours.
To their credit, West Coast, I know it's been a dreadful afternoon, but it's 5 goals apiece in this third quarter.
And the margin 63 points at half-time. It now stands at 66. Mark to McKenzie. But 11 goals is going to be tough to overcome as a lead. At the last change, the Saints with 20 on the board with a quarter to play. 27-127.
He'll be throwing around his players off the bench a lot more now, just player rehab stuff. So, but just can you keep this up? Because if you want to be a top 4 side in a grand finals, potential grand finals, you need to keep that intensity up for most of the game.
From the ball up, Cox, who's tried hard all day, down to Prittis. Gwilt with the fist. McWalter throws it up. Del Santo, Gwilt, ball, Blake, Gilbert. It's away from Hunter.
Too easy.
Thumps it long. Milne got there, took the mark and takes off. Inside the boundary, sends it long. Kosicki thumped away from his reach. McWalter.
Quick hands.
Schneider, Jones off the side of the boot. It might work for him. Ray was waiting. He thumps it long. Back of the pack, Milne. He was stalking the pack there, hoping it'll come his way. Thumped out of play. Ball in. 127-61. The Saints' undefeated start to 2009 looks set to continue. Cox down but to ball. Wobbles it to full forward. Front spot is the optimum spot for McKenzie. Got the kick away, but Grant cuts it off ahead of Hunter. Off to Gwilt. Now the leads come. Thumps it long. Riewoldt feeding back to the square. Flies and it was spoiled by Schneider. His own man didn't know he was there. Nikoski, Embley. They get themselves muddled up.
Dangerous kick.
Kerr with the reach to his own advantage. Dumped by Jones. Got it away cleverly. Rosa. And now Jones can run. Sees Lynch on the 50, taps to his own advantage, can load up, kick smothered. Well played by Fisher. Back to Jones, rolls it to full forward. Lacroix through his legs, Goddard to Fisher. We'll play game 100 next week here at Etihad against the Dockers. And Fisher's kick finds Del Santo to Riewoldt.
Hands in the back.
Free kick, it'll be Milne's ball.
Well, he had Milne beaten cold there, Nikoski. Milne was trying to force his way back into the contest, and he just out of instinct used his hands to keep him out of the contest.
Kazitsky. Good fist from Embley. Kerr. Little toe poke. Hip and shoulder, Ebert and McWalter. They both have a piece of it under them. Ball up.
I think Eric McKenzie's done a fair job under enormous pressure. He has held up, hasn't he, a little bit, but no one could have stemmed the flow in the first half.
Hasn't dominated, but he's worked hard, Nick Riewoldt. He's had 22 possessions.
Which is his best game so far this season as Gardner gives the ball. Side of the boot. Ebert. Selwood. And the last line of defence. Stenglein, good reach. And he takes off on Ray, who's pretty quick. Tracks him down. Forced a wobbly handball. Put Pritis under pressure. Now McKinlay. And Kerr. To mop up everyone else's mess.
Yeah, just
Short
class, wasn't it, Dwayne?
Pritis left it from McKinlay. He gave it back to Pritis as a reward, and gee, that was like Snow White's apple there. He just gave it, and it nearly killed him.
Handball pressure. You're running towards goal, and you invent a handball, and you know that this Saints side's tackle as well in the midfield of the ground better than anybody in the competition at the moment.
Gardner and Cox has been a good battle. Jones, wide ball. Milne and Selwood. And Milne rides his back.
Who has won that Gardner Cox? I think Gardner's won today.
Well, the scoreboard might help him out a little.
Well, but Dean Cox doesn't kick many goals. I think he only kicked, 9 last year in total, Dwayne?
Yep.
He's got to become a better goal kicker. At the moment, he's a ruck rover. Everybody says he's the best ruckman in the competition. Well, he plays like a ruck rover, I think.
83 goals from 170 games for Dean Cox. Gardner, just to emphasise your point, to Goddard, who was sparkling early, gave him a good start with 4 goals in the opening term. Goddard to Fisher, also solid.
Yeah, look, he's never going to threaten Dan Cox in terms of getting more possessions at him. But I suggest Michael Gardner's going to find this a very satisfying victory.
No doubt.
His own performance has been terrific.
Baker found Ray. Riewoldt, tough ball to grab over his head. And McKenzie did pretty well. Got a hand on it. Kerr raked it in. Clever kick. Rosa or the boundary line. Kerr knew that either would have done. And we'll get a ball in. 66 points. You see Kerr is keeping this in Rosa's direction or the boundary line either. Jones takes him down. Stenglein to Pritis. Good pack around that ball up again as Ebert gets the kick, the half forward. Hunter.
That's going to Adam Hunter, I think, which won't make Sam Gilbert happy because Hunter's opponent, Jason Blakes, pushed him straight into the back of Gilbert. Now, he's no Quentin Lynch, so he's too far out, Adam Hunter.
No one on the line, though, could give it a big long ride. Doesn't. Goes to Quentin Lynch, who
got away from Zach Dawson on that occasion. He's a good 7 or 8 metres clear. The glove comes off. Now, you'd rather him from 50 than you would from 35, wouldn't you?
Yeah. See,
there we go, the hands in the back. Sam Gilbert straight up looking for his opponent again. Terrific. He got poleaxed there.
Yeah, these blokes are courageous, aren't they? They just do it without question.
kick 2 in the third, and
right, Jason.
He stabs at the close ones for whatever reason.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Jason. Lee Colbert downstairs.
Yeah, Andrew Embley, boys, just came off with a pretty nursing a cork left thigh. He's pretty sore at the moment.
Fisher to Del Santo.
Should he keep the glove on, Jason?
No, absolutely not. But you've got to kick through the ball.
It does defy logic that a player can be better from 50 than he is at 30.
When you're 50 out, you're forced to kick through it.
I'll name one. Anthony Rocker's exactly like that.
Yeah, there are players like that, but it does defy logic.
True.
You're right. It's got to be a mental pressure technique thing that just turns it around.
Ray turns it around, gave it to Hansen. Dawson, Zach Dawson. Confidence there.
Hasn't he fallen on his feet?
Yes.
Well, it's been timely with Max Hudson out.
And Maguire.
He's filled a hole.
14 games for Hawthorn in 5 seasons. Zach Dawson, and now at a new home, he seems to be enjoying. Graham, well, it's opened up here. King Goddard through the middle. If it bounces, Ray is away.
Oh, well done, Kurt.
Back to Graham. Caught. Didn't get a legal kick away.
It's on behind play.
Kerr and Ray, and there'll be another wrestling report.
Oh, he doesn't want this close vision here, Daniel Kerr.
Well, Ray hasn't got his mouth guarded anymore. I'm not too sure how he lost it, but it hit the deck. And
what happened was Daniel Kerr left his man and knew that Ray was going to run forward. It was a really good tackle, and that turned the ball over, but then they just fell to the ground together. Here they go.
It's a terrific tackle. He throws him to the ground. It's actually Ray that starts it.
Yep. You just hope the forearm doesn't come down quick, though.
I think it might have been Kerr that finished it, though.
Yes, I was going to say, he took the wrong bloke on, Dwayne. He's very, very strong for his size, Daniel Kerr.
Rosa to Ebert, to Selwood, towards Hanson, but he was edged under the ball well by Blake. Gwilt back onto it. Baker, Ray, who gets another one for his trouble, this time from Hanson. King, quick. Oh, King's thrown one. Hanson's down. And that looked ugly from Stephen King. He'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah, reported for striking.
Well, he's having such a good year too.
He got up pretty quickly, but I think there was something in it.
Yep.
He certainly accentuated the high contact.
I just cannot believe the St Kilda players are getting involved in this stuff.
When you're a mile in front.
Hanson to Hearn will show the replay, of course, as that is through for a behind. Hunter marked it over the line. Here we go. Stephen King here. Yeah.
Look, you know what? That was a forearm to the back. That's all it was. Have a look. It's a forearm to the back, and he just brushes it over.
You can't swing your arm around, though. They made a mistake here from the kick out.
He swung the arm around because Hanson was still holding onto it. Tried to knock him away.
And look, Ashley got up quick too, so there mustn't have been too much contact.
Gee, you're kind. Maston from the pocket. And it's punched through for another behind.
Well, we're a different era. We come from a different era, Dwayne, where, you know what?
But the other call, as you see it, I mean, if he poleaxed him, we'll say, gee, poleaxed him there, but he didn't. It was just a bit of fluff. Don't think that's going to help him. No.
Hayes to Montaigne. Short kick cut off by Davis.
They're getting a bit ugly now, the Saints, aren't they? You know.
Well, this is where you've got to hold your discipline because they're on a roll. They don't need players getting reported. And if I was a St Kilda player, particularly a fringe player, I wouldn't want to lose my spot at the side.
Hayes to Graham. Dawson. Graham again. Still with some speed in his legs. McWalter. Graham. Ball. King. Ball. Milne, if he can get there. After the bounce. Blake. And now Revolt in the sun. Hands were good. Didn't control it.
What does he have?
Revolt looks at the umpire and says, come on.
Look at the crowd coming up. Down to Lee Colbert.
Yeah, Daniel Kerr, boys, has come off the ground. They're just going to give him a bit of a spell, no doubt. They want to put him on ice. The last thing they want is the champ to be reported for a couple of weeks.
Look, he's worked hard. He's had a shadow all day in Clinton Jones, but he's worked hard. 23 possessions for him, and Clinton Jones has got 22.
Gwilt. Now Blake wide. Fisher. To Goddard. And now Montaigne sends it long in the Kazitsky direction, and he gets there. No one in the square.
Revolt one out.
Revolt feels back and takes
great running
the mark.
Now, if you remember back to where they had the last contest, that's 100 metres away, up between the wing and the opposite half-forward flank.
Great call.
And when you move like that, you are always going to get your share of possession, get your share of marks. But full credit, McKenzie's there every step of the way. He is getting a great lesson today, Eric McKenzie, in what's required at this level, playing on one of the best. And he can hold his head high, Eric McKenzie.
Well, you just showed that athleticism that he got there, but I reckon he was that tired at the end he couldn't get his arms up.
There's a good test too for Nick Revolt, who hasn't kicked well, hasn't been kicking well of late, and hasn't kicked a goal today.
That's what he has ahead of him. Still has misses again, Nick Revolt, and that has been the flaw at his game in his entire career. His numbers aren't too bad, Nick Revolt, when you look at the goals and behinds for his career. 322 goals, 209.
He's a body language man, though. Yep. I reckon as soon as you know that he doesn't want to have a shot, he might as well nearly hand off every time.
It's also the complete misses and his big moment misses for Nick Revolt.
But the other thing we should take into account too, Dwayne, is that A lot of the pre-season that he missed was with a leg injury, and when you do that, you won't be spending time practicing your shooting for goal.
And the other thing, he's probably not total fitness, so when he works so hard, it's hard to get the, suck the air in to maybe balance up and control it all.
It's a better kick, though, that one. Goddard, Kazitsky all down there, all wanting to add to their tally. Goddard might here. Little toe poke back. Ray put Geary under pressure.
That's got to be holding the ball if they hold his jumper. But, gee, we just saw Chad Fletcher at ground level there. That was nearly the end of a career.
Oh, so that's
Bend down. You know, if you've got to be... It's just the game. Look at that. Oh, that's a player who's seen had a lot of football, had a lot of success, and it could be coming along quickly.
Milne dragged down. Can't get it out. Get another ball up.
Give him a little bit out there, Chad Fletcher.
Well,
I think he's cranky.
That's what happens when you get old too. You get cranky and slow.
If you can't get the ball, you say, well, I want to get someone.
Oh, get someone there.
64 points the margin. Roughly 30,000 here, and they've enjoyed every moment. McWalter, De Hayes. A little bit more icing for the Saints.
Yeah, well, no problems for St Kilda's number 7. He just strolls into an open goal. Chad Fletcher, though, having a few issues. Hard to tell if you ever got slow and cranky, Shorey, because you were that way from the start.
Well, if you haven't got the pace, it doesn't matter if you get hurt or anything like that, or you do get cranky. When you've got speed and you do a knee injury, but, gee, Lenny Hayes is important in this group. He hasn't had a pre-season either, so he's only going to improve as the year goes on.
And as you mentioned, Shuri did have a hamstring injury during pre-season. Missed round 1. So last week when he had 20 possessions against Adelaide, it was his first game this season. Lenny Hayes, and they had a reasonable afternoon with 21 so far today. Lynch kick smothered. Well, that had hurt too. Ball probably didn't feel it. Rosa. Handball missed the target. Ebert back in, turns it over. McWalter. Lenny Hayes, possession number 22. Not a good one. Lynch.
Good vision.
Embley. Margin stands at 70 points. Short to Lacroix. Big fist from Blake.
Showed good pace on the leave there, Jason Blake, to get there and spoil. This is Quentin Lynch winding up, and that is a gutsy smother.
Great smother.
Luke Ball, surprise, surprise. But if that follow-through had got him in the head, it would have removed it clean off his shoulders.
Jason Blake is a very good player, isn't he, Jason Blake?
Maligned at times, but he's very flexible. He can use him in a lot of different roles.
Ball, quick up. From that ball up to Geary, to Gwilt. And now to the open side to Gilbert, who can go. Takes on Hunter. Has a bounce.
You knew that was coming.
But he turned him inside out well. Centering kick. Difficult one for Kazitsky. Thumped away from him. Oh, that's in the back. Kerr almost pushed Montagne's head into the car park underneath the ground.
See what, I reckon he just wanted to make some good body contact there, Daniel Kerr. He's a little bit narky. He probably knew he'd give away the free kick, but he thought, gee, you're going to earn this one.
Wobbly kick toward the goal square, and it eludes everybody out of play.
Lee Montagne's just down behind play.
Would take the wind out of his sails.
I think he might have done it.
Driving tackle under the ribs.
Back into play, and Kerr gathers the possession, gets a few boos. Selwood, Fletcher, Jones. He's caught in two minds. Corralled, forced to go all the way back to McKenzie. Well, as you mentioned, guys, has done a good job. Only a young player on the rise. Game number 11 for Eric McKenzie. Still eligible for a NAB Rising Star nomination, Eric McKenzie, but he's a fullback, so a fat chance. Stenglon. And now the long ball forward. Rosa. Hansen didn't want to go over the boot. Went to Ebert, who left it behind.
It was a poor handball and then a poor fumble.
So Hayes on the rebound, sends it wide. Goddard. Gee, came hard. Put the skates on, wanted it badly and got it.
Inboard, Shorey.
Yep.
Geary. McWalter wants a handball. No one there. sends in the Kazitsky direction, and he's almost got it. Thumped away from him, and he dragged Brown back.
Andrew McWalter then just ran around his shadow. No one went near him.
And you sense that if Saints coach Ross Lyon could put a few players in cotton wool now, he would. They are spent. They've earned this victory.
Oh, who is that to?
Hearn sends it long. Maybe the boundary is the win. Is that deliberate?
I think there's a family member.
No one leaving.
Yep, he has too.
That is a
big call,
I
isn't
was
it?
only joking.
When he paid that, yeah, I think Shannon Hearn was shocked. He just stopped dead in his tracks when he paid that.
Well,
I think he kicked it to space because he didn't have a target. He said, we'll run onto that. But
the umpire's got to look up and say what was his intention and was there a player within the vicinity, and he made those two decisions.
what about when you kick to space, but because you can kick it 60, 70 metres, it actually goes through the space over the boundary?
Zach Dawson hands off to Farron Ray. Some space to work into. Just caught, little push, but the ball finds Graham to a revolt.
Look at this play.
Catch that floater.
Oh,
Almost did. Gardner. Milne, he'll kick this goal. Spins around. You got to love Stephen Milne, don't you? He's got 3 for the day.
well, you've got to love him, but I think we're still like now. Here's Hearn with this kick for the deliberate out about. Now, where's his he didn't kick to a teammate. You know what? That umpire is totally right.
Put it out in front of McKinley.
Oh, yeah, what, 70 metres over his head. But as Dwayne said, you've got to either love him or you hate him, Dwayne. He just drives you crazy, but he does his job. 3 goals, and he's got a great return per game. Very intelligent player.
Okay, so he's not been as good a forward for St Kilda as Nick Revolt. Virtually, as I said earlier, same amount of games and more goals from less kicks, but he has been a pretty good player. And
I think you get an argument.
Yeah, he's got 3 for the day, and Revolt hasn't got any.
You're not going to win that argument, Brian.
I know, but
put it away.
I just want to put Milne into the equation.
I think we do have to
be
give
there.
You're right. He does deserve credit.
But they are different players too, so they're going to do it different ways. Nick runs big, tall players in the ground. Milne gets a bloke on him every week.
As I said, Nick Revolt is a better player, but who's the better forward?
I'll still take Revolt.
In their roles, I think that if you have to go by goals, I would think.
Del Santo.
What about marks, assists?
To Ray. Well, Revolt has taken more marks in the last 7 years than any other player in the competition, uncontested and contested.
Well, uncontested means you might be getting him outside 50.
Yeah. But still, he has been the best marking player in the comp for the last 7 years, if you take those 7 years combined.
I think sometimes forwards get a little bit undersold too, because if you beat a player on the lead, it's an uncontested mark.
Yeah. 140 to 64, Nick Revolt. Had a pretty good day, though, even though he hasn't got any goals to his name. 25 possessions for Nick Revolt today.
Scoring has certainly slowed down in the last quarter, just 2 goals to nothing. Very low scoring final term. I think both teams are a little bit weary.
Content to hear the siren, both teams.
Yep. Oh, that's sloppy.
In cricket, the captains would have got together by now and just
The mercy rule.
Mercy rule, absolutely. Jason Blake didn't need to do that. It was going over the head of Ashley Hansen.
And the reason it was because Matty Prittis is one of those players who you don't mind having the ball in his hands a lot.
He's had 12 kicks today, and he's kicking at a 33% efficiency rate.
Look, sometimes even a great player like Robert Harvey, and remember what Malcolm Blight did in the grand final, he didn't mind Rob Harvey getting the ball because he thought he lacked penetration. He'd hurt him the other way. And Matty Prittis has to improve that area of his game.
23rd possession here for Farron Ray, another player who's changed clubs and enjoying his new home. Graham takes them on. Revolt short if he wants him. He wants him. Got a hand to it. Tried to keep it alive. Did pretty well. But the ball out of play.
See, I'm watching Daniel Kerr run around. He chased Graham there. He's running his heart out, but he's also looking to make contact with opposition players. They're lining up a couple. He's a bit angry, the boy.
That takes it out of you too.
Well, you know that you've had a game when you play on Daniel Kerr. Goddard to Revolt. He might get a goal for his game.
He'd love a 50-metre penalty.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he wouldn't have to worry about the set shot. But
he's gone. He is out and out on his feet. And this is an issue with him because he works so hard, Jason. Let's have a look at his body language about where he looks. And, he's got plenty of time to suck it all in.
Good little quick kick from Brendan Goddard. He's played an outstanding game. Best on the field for mine, Brendan Goddard.
So 3 behinds for his day, Nick Revolt. 2 goals, 6 for the year so far. Scoreboard shouldn't scare him. Got one. Wow. It's there, and he breathes a sigh, as we all do.
Oh, he's still worked hard. 26 disposals. That's his first goal, but he's just opened up space. He's run at the packs hard, as Kaczynski has. And as I said, it opens up takes players out of the game, opens up space at ground level for your crummers. But just a fantastic work rate. We know about that with Nick Riewoldt. He'll only get better too as the year goes on, because his pre-season was interrupted also.
We talk about sharing the workload at times, Dwayne. St Kilda have had 14 individual goal kickers. That would please the coach greatly. West Coast just the 4.
From the ball up, King, Hayes, Del Santo, the usual suspects. Milne ridden a little bit. So Milne will end with 4 for the day.
That's just frustration setting in.
Presuming he doesn't get a 5th in the last 3 minutes.
To tell you what, the West Coast Eagles is going to be a long, long year unless they can find some spark in their midfield. They've got a lot of players who get cheap possessions, but that had to be a 50-metre penalty. Well done, the umpire. Protect the players in front.
4 goals for Stephen Milne.
He started on the bench, Stephen Milne, but certainly had an impact since coming on. Like I say, he's got 4 goals next to his name, 15 possessions, 4 goals straight, in fact. He's worked very hard, done a couple of good things and playing in front. Look, there's not a lot in it, but you can also argue that there was no need for Nikoski to actually fall to his knees. He didn't need to do it.
Lee Colbert downstairs, Colby.
Yeah, the boys, they're getting very restless here. The Saints fans pretty happy their big guns are coming off now for a rest. Cozzie's off. Also, Big Gardner is having a spell as well.
Yeah, you could hear the applause when Justin Kaczynski jogged from the field.
Lenny Hayes, they take them all off if they could right now. And the mark taken by McKenzie, who, as the boys have said a couple of times, has done really well today. Under immense pressure in defence. Rosa, I'll be content to see this out. It does go out off a little toe, and it is out of play on the full from Geary's boot. Daniel Kerr also has been taken off, so he's been put in cotton wool by the West Coast coaching staff. Probably knew he was getting a little restless. A couple of suspensions last year, Daniel Kerr missing 6 games in total, and of course the knee problems as well, restricting him to just 11 games last year.
Sorry, I haven't seen a lot of Matt Rosa, but he was touted as one of the young midfielders really coming through the next generation for West Coast. But he's been disappointing today, just 16 possessions, hasn't had an impact.
Yeah, he's been tagging. He's had a tagging role. Del Santo at times and other players. Look, I just think they've got to let them have their head, some of these younger players. Running around being a negating midfielder, it just brings you down, and you cannot see the development they might have in their game. So Matt Rosa should be running around trying to accumulate.
Won't be a game to remember for Tyson Stingline game 200 as Blake thumps that out. That's not deliberate. You're allowed to do that.
Another round of applause. Nick Riewoldt comes off to sit on the pine.
2 minutes 43 from a 3-zip start to the season, the Saints. And they certainly sent a warning to the rest of the competition. Hard tackling style, and now a style that's been able to net them 24 goals so far. Might be more. Hayes sends it long.
Lovely kick.
Dawson, Jones just off the bench. Geary might run under this. It's rolling. It's rolling. Geary gets there. Goals.
Touched.
Okay.
Well done to McKenzie again. Gee, they're asking a bit of him.
Aren't they?
Watch this. Just well done.
Oh, already got a toe on that. Okay. Nikoski. Well, he ran into Schneider. Effectively a brick wall. And advantage as Geary finds Zach Dawson.
Well, this will be interesting. Not renowned for his kicking, but certainly he has been a very important acquisition for the St Kilda Footy Club. Very good with the spoil. He's never played on Barry Hall in round 1 and did a good job.
He's never kicked a goal.
May just break the hoodoo and could be the 15th individual goal kicker.
In game 17, Zach Dawson kicked a few for Box Hill last year when Hawthorn didn't play him in the seniors.
Oh, tumble punt.
Oh.
What's gone through? Oh, that was a mongrel tumble punt.
But he loved it. He's got his first in AFL footy.
I don't think you'll find that kick in any coaching manual. Smiles all around though.
I did it a few times, Jace. When you kick them off your knee, it happens like that. They roll over like that. But Zach Dawson, he's been a really good find. He, of course, had his time at Hawthorn, had those troubles. They always go back to that Anthony Rocket game, but I think it was a lot more than that. He had some players ahead of him, and he needed to mature and become a greater competitor. I think he's built up a little bit.
He rode it home too.
He's happy at the moment.
Just when you think the game had used up all its moments, Zach Dawson kicks his first, and it's out for the biggest margin of the game, 95 points, and this could be a 100-point smashing here as Graham runs on to put it past 100, sends it long. It's the post.
Zach Dawson should have gone for that again.
He's having a spell at full forward. Enjoying that. He's done his work down back. Now licensed to go forward, and every chance in the last minute and a bit. But this will be a 100-point margin.
You can tell he's not a regular forward because full forwards go for those, even if they're going through for a goal.
Fancy shepherding it through.
Embley inside the final minute. Rosa. 96 points. It'll be a smashing regardless. It'll be a 1 from 3 start for the West Coast Eagles, coming off that horror season, 15th last year. King gets back and can't get there. Rosa takes the mark.
Yeah, Shepherd, a good call, the umpire.
Had to be against Fletcher. They've got 30 seconds to kick a goal and make it 100 points.
Didn't even look like going for the mark, Chad Fletcher.
So Stephen King, who might face the match review panel this week. One last chance, Montagna. Rolls it towards Goddard. It'll be appropriate if he finishes it. He started it all with 4 in the opening term. Hands off to Jones from 40. Misses.
Wouldn't that have been a great way to sign off?
What about the pick up of Brendan Goddard? Late in the game, he's worked his backside off and just picked it up one hand and turned inside.
Don't bet against the turnover here from the kick-in. It's been that kind of day for the West Coast, and Rosa should chew up the last seconds and end the pain. But it's been nothing but enjoyable for St Kilda fans who've been through their own pain for so many years.